Hey, good afternoon. Today is Saturday, and my name is Dodi Tuchet, and I'm here to demonstrate on how to blend with furniture wax. So my name is Dodi Tuchet. I'm a makeup artist and esthetician, and I'm also a furniture painter as well. I always wanted to do some videos on YouTube, but I just haven't always made excuses of why not. So I decided, why not come on here and work on things that I'm working on right now and just come on show y'all how I'm doing it. So if you go on my Facebook at Lee and Wild Designs, that is our business name. My name is Dodi Lee Tuchet, and my partner is Jamie Lee Wild. And that's how we got our name as Lee and Wild Designs. Both our middle names Lee, and so is my daughter, and his last name is Wild, and so we came out with Lee and Wild Designs. As a furniture painter, I came about it, to make a short story, I came about it as a makeup artist, and during some trying times with COVID, I could not perform facials and do makeup, which was very hard for me because it is something that I enjoy doing. I love connecting with people. I really love the art of the whole makeup and skincare, and not just applying it, but the actual story it entails with the person and the relationships that it evolve. And just having a brush in hand and just creating something, actually enhancing what is already there, and creating that enhancement and creating a story with a piece. I love designing, I love creating, and I love to show other people what they already have there that is already beauty, but just needs to be shown a little more. So today we'll be working on this hutch right here. This is, I think it's a Jacobean piece that this lady wanted me to redo and repaint. And so what I did was I cleaned it using a really good cleaner. And then after I did that, I scuff sanded it, and then I ended up stripping the top. So as I was cleaning it, even though she gave me some inspiration, so a lot of my pieces, as I go along and do more and more pieces, a lot of my inspiration I notice comes from what they may give me, and they may not know what they want, and that's where I come in to help them meet them in the middle. So I give them my ideas, and they usually say, I mean, whatever you do, I know it's going to look good. And even though that is a great compliment to me, and it still makes me, I want to make sure they're happy with the piece. So I want it to come from my heart. I want it to come from my soul when I do every piece. So as I was cleaning it is probably not only the one of the most important things you can do with your pieces and prepping, but it also gives me the moment and the time to spend time with this piece, connect with it, and creating it, and just bringing out the piece itself. So as I was cleaning it, I realized this woman who let me redo this piece, which I'm very honored to do for her. It's been in her family for a very long time. Her mother was gifted this when she got married, let's see, 50 years ago. And so you can about imagine, oh wow, my battery's low. So you can about imagine that how long they've been having it. So I'm guessing that if her mother's mother gave them as a gift on their wedding, and when they got married, that has been in their family for a long time. And I find, you know, treasures with every piece. And it was actually a clipping in the magazine they've been looking for, and she told me to keep it for them. So as this story started evolving, I started realizing more and more of the details of what I wanted to do. So the top here I decided to strip because I felt like I needed to keep some originality with the piece. And even though it might not be the right color with the trim work of the bottom right here, as you can see that I did on the legs, I'm going to give it a light stain, a water-based stain that I'm going to use on the top. Most of the things that I do use is water-based, and there's many reasons why. Number one, because I like to have options. I like to kind of go outside the box. So I like to use things interchangeably. And if I don't like it as much, I can go back and change it. It's just paint. And as a makeup artist, communicating with other people, I always tell them, they always ask me, how do you do that? I want to know how to do that, but I'm scared to do that. I said, it's just makeup. You can take it off. So I had to take that same concept and apply it. And once I apply that same concept and what I've learned, I started knowing where I wanted to go with this business and doing my furniture. And not just that, but I know more of where my niche is. And I love shading, just like with makeup. So today, getting right to it, what I was talking about. Today, I'm not finished the top of this. I'm gonna stain this. And as I do a piece, I go back and forth of the top, the bottom, and that kind of brings it all together. It just kind of tells me as I go along the story I'm creating. So the top is going to be a little darker. I'm actually going to paint this. I just primed it, but I'm going to paint it the same color as this right here, the body. So the body is a soft white color. That's more, if it's around more warm colors, it pulls the warm. If it's more around more cooler colors, it pulls the coolness. So it's a really nice neutral color that you can use with anything warm and cools. And so she wanted it to show some of the wood, and she wanted it etched. And she gave me pictures of a piece in her house that gave me inspiration on how she likes things and how likes her furniture. So I sanded it down. So what I did was I cleaned it. I sanded it, I cleaned it again, I primed it twice, and I do a little 320 grit sandpaper in between my prime, just to make sure it's smooth and adheres to the wood. And then I painted it twice, and I also sanded it in between my paint colors, because I like that smooth finish, and I like to make sure it adheres to the piece, because the most important thing is this piece is going to last for a very long time in her family, and that's very, very, very important. This is a big history with her and her family, so I want to make sure it stays that way. So as you can see, I started doing some of the waxing here, and this wax is water-based, so I can definitely change it once I get more done. And if I don't like it and I stand back and I say I don't like it, then I can change it. I can also seal it and maybe glaze certain areas too that I might want a little darker or want a little more shading in a different way. So you can definitely shade with color, but I find that shading with this piece that I'm looking for, shading with the wax is going to get a softer, more authentic look to the piece, and that's what we're going for. So I figured I would do a video on this because shading with wax is a little more simple, easier to start with whenever you do shading. And so today, let me see if you can see it a little bit better. And I took the doors off, so I'm gonna do the doors. So today, I'm just gonna do, let's see where we are right now. So today what I'm gonna do to show you, I'm gonna start here and start shading this area right here. Now, I will tell you the few things that I think is very important to have on hand when you do shading or paint at all in either aspects of this situation is have wipes. Wipes are your best friend. I keep a towel and a stiff brush. Now, you don't have to go expensive on your artist brushes, but this one, I had a hard time finding the stiff brushes. So this one actually came from Hobby Lobby. And I use this pointing brush, which I got, I think it's a Dixie Belle brush I got at Roosters, where I actually have a booth at in Lafayette on Kali Saloon. So this is actually gonna get into the creases when I go to shade after I apply the wax. Okay, so I'm gonna put this right here. So I just keep things close by. I'm actually gonna put it up here, so I can keep it on hand. So what we're gonna do, this is the brown wax. I'm using brown wax because of the color of the piece and keeping the wood its natural color. So as you can see, I actually already sealed and already primed this. So what I did was I dry brushed with this color right here, and then I went back with a gold gilding paint by Wise Owl and dry brushed over that to give it some accent and to just highlight the details of the piece on the legs, because I think it's so pretty to keep some of the original wood showing through. So I'm probably gonna go back with some brown wax as well. It just depends. I like to see the piece as a whole, and once I see it as a whole, then I know what I can do. And that's the thing about whenever you're painting, you want to step back and look at the piece as you go along to see where you want to go, what you want to do, what you want to tweak, how is it looking. And standing back and just taking a moment is so, so important. So I hope y'all can see this a little bit. Okay. So this is my first video I did on YouTube, but I do have videos on my Facebook at Lee & Wild Design. So if y'all want to see something else, you can go on there as well. And also, if you have any questions, please feel free to message me and find out what y'all might want to know more of. The basic of cleaning and priming, I can do a video on that as well. So I just barely touch, and that's the thing about their waxes. This wax that I use from Dixie Belle is really, really soft, so all waxes are different. It's water-based. So I just tap it here, okay? And let me see, I'm gonna start right here. I go in between here. And don't be scared of, if you're using paint, waxing, don't be scared of it, because you can take it right off if you wanted to. The wipies really work good for that. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little more. And actually, if you can see this brush right here is short and stiff, and it's actually wide. So if I wanted to, I can actually go on top of these two ends and go over it right here after I go in this way in the crease. Okay. And then I take my pointing brush and I just blend, go over it. And if you feel like it's not blending enough, depending on what kind of blend you're going for, you can go in circles. Okay. Okay. And I actually like that. So I'm just gonna go on top here. So it hits both edges of the two high points here. Whenever you go over it, after you're already going in the crease. And again, you just go over with your brush and blend it in. So it's a little more workable when you work with water-based. So if you feel like there's a spot on here, if you see, when I do this, I'm probably gonna go back with my wipies and just wipe off on the high points because I want it more to be in the middle. It just depends on how I like it, the way it looks after I use the wax. I like it to be a little softer, and that's what we're going for with this piece. I want it to look a little aged and authentic and not harsh. And that's what I think waxing does for me, because I do not want it too dramatic. You see that right here? And I guess I could have used gray wax as well, or I can just go ahead with the brown wax if I want to just keep going with the brown wax. And sometimes when one thing I would tell you that you will know that a piece may not look right until you actually complete it. So don't worry if it just don't look right because of the outside being done and not the inside. Because until you actually complete a piece, it may not look as you want it to. Sometimes I go over it with my file. So let's see. And let me tell you, I make mistakes all the time and expect that. Like if something happens and it doesn't go as planned, it's okay. Oops is always a great opportunity. Let's see, so I'm gonna go here. Because I don't know, it may not look like I want it to once I complete it, but it's an easy fix. And this is probably the best part of what I do, because I have to be patient. I have to enjoy the process, And guys, let me tell you, this could be great therapy. I tell you, great therapy. And as you can see, I'm just barely touching here and rubbing into the crease of the piece. Now you may want it just on the high points. It just depends on what kind of look you're going for. I want to keep the high points lighter in color. and the receding darker in color. Kind of like makeup. So if you one that wears makeup and you shade your makeup or your eyeshadow or your blush, you kind of know what I'm talking about. And you can see the difference from this side to this side as well. And so being patient with doing this, and as you go along, you will see the story unfold and tell you what you may want to know or you may not want to know. And then you can go back and make changes with that as well. So don't be scared. And that's the thing I had to learn when I started this journey, is don't be scared. Enjoy the process, because you can go back and change it. Yes, it is time, but when I first started, I really wanted to get it right. And I really wanted to learn. The only way I could learn is watch videos, learn, and do it myself. And I've redone the first table I did at the top. I think I've redone it and sanded it. I can't tell you how many times, but at the end, I really loved it. And during the process, I learned a lot during that process. And a lot of that learning is what led me to the next step and the next stage of being more clear of what I wanted. So always remember that, guys. Don't be scared. I just think these details are so pretty, and I just felt like I wanted to bring them out a little. Okay, look at that. Look at the difference on this piece makes whenever you blend. And what I'm gonna do is take my white piece, because I don't necessarily want to cover all these high points right here. I want to bring them out. I want them to really stand out and show its beauty and all its glory that this piece really is. And that's really, really important. So while I'm doing this, I will explain what I actually, I cleaned and primed this piece with 1 hour, with Wise Owl primer. I did, and this is probably unconventional because I do a lot of things unconventional, but I primed it in gray, a light gray color, and then I primed it in a clear. And the reason I did that is because I knew I was going to etch this piece, but I also wanted to make it easier for me when I paint it. Because, you know, and if you're an artist, you know, painting white on something dark, it's a little more work, it's a little more steps. So you have to decide on how you're going to do this piece. And sometimes you have to think outside the box whenever that happens. And that's okay. Always experiment. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just add a little bit more. And sometimes wax, if you go over it too many times in one area, it could erase it. So if I don't apply more and I go over something and I don't have much on my brush, it can actually erase some of that wax. So always keep that in mind if you get nervous about whenever you do a piece. Now, Wise Owl, the two owners, Karen and Aaron, are awesome. They really connect with everybody that uses their paints. They have some really amazing paint, and I'm very, very satisfied with it. And so they don't only have just chalk paint, but they have other paints that are furniture paints. The reason why I use both, and sometimes I use chalk paint, it just depends, because chalk paint actually gives you the opportunity to be able to blend and really create something amazing and create different things and blend different colors and shade different colors. So that's a beauty of using chalk paint, and it can last as long as you take care of the piece that you're doing. If you clean, prep, and you know, prep it good, and which is the most important thing to do, is prepping your piece. Then it will last, and sealing it the proper way depending on where it is. So sealing it, and that's really gonna make the color last, the piece last, and the way they want it to be. So I just went over with my wipey on the high points here a little bit, as you can see. Now I will say, as a makeup artist, and I've experienced with a lot of different makeup and skincare, I do the same with paint, because not all is created equal. And before I became a retailer for Wise Owl, I actually started about a year ago on my birthday, when my boyfriend actually bought me some furniture paint, and that's how it all started. So I do use other things from other companies, depending on what the customer wants, because I'll bring swatches and vision and just different things that they can choose from, or how they want it done. So I use my vision and I give it to them, and we just kind of come together that way to create this story. So as you can see, we wiped off some of the high points, so you can really see the drama in the creases, and it makes it so more vivid and comes out so much more. Okay, and I didn't do the inside yet, but once I do the inside, you'll notice the difference. I will be back.